So here we are, last day before y'all. No, I got school tomorrow. Sorry, never mind. Today's Wednesday. Some background for what was happening in the colonies during this time period. We've got our 13 colonies established, okay? The how about that you will learn when you take American 1 or APUSH, all right? There was a lot of competition and a lot of bad blood between the British, okay, who were the main landholders here in North America, and the French, who are the #2 landholders here. This is going to spill over into a war, okay? It'll take place in Europe and take place over here. Anyways, it's going to be known as the French and Indian War. No, we were fighting the French and we were fighting the Indians. So it's the French and Indian War, all right? Well, during this time period, again, we are fighting them as part of the British Crown, as members of basically of citizens of the British Crown, okay? We are not Americans. We may be Massachusetts, we may be Pennsylvanians, New Jerseyans, okay? But we're basically British, okay, during this time period. So we're going to fight this war in the name of the crown, and after the war is won, Britain's going to look at its pockets and they're going to be feeling kind of light, all right? And they're going to say that, dang, we done spent a lot of money to beat the French. We need to recoup some of that money. And how are we going to recoup that money? We're going to tax the colonist. Why will we tax the colonist? Because it was us protecting the colonist, okay? They get into this little tuffle, now everything gets all crazy. We had to send in the troops. We were protecting the colonists, so they should have to pay, all right? The colonists are going to be like, bunk that. We just wanted to do our own thing to begin with. We didn't ask you to do anything. In fact, if you weren't here, we could do our own thing, have our own treaty with the French and the natives, okay? And life would be good. And so they're going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between the British and the colonists, okay? Colonists will even get so mad that they will destroy some tea in the Boston Harbor, all right, known as the Boston Tea Party. Before we get to the Boston Tea Party, there's going to be all sorts of things that are going to happen. But the Boston Tea Party is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, all right? The Boston Tea Party is going to lead the British to put the slap on the colonists, all right, and come up with a series of laws designed to put the colonists basically back in their place, all right? Oh, you think you're bad? Huh, wait till you see what we can do. First thing we're going to do is send in, about 200 extra troops. Bang, what you going to do about that, okay? The next thing, we're going to make your life a living hell until you learn how to act right, okay? It's like the parent that takes the door off the child's bedroom. Oh, you want to smoke, pot in your room and do all this other kind of stuff? Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the door off your room. I personally would never do that, but you all know there's some parents out there that would do something like that. And so that's what's going on with the colonies and Great Britain, okay? The colonies are that surly teenager, and Great Britain is that over-dominating parent out there, all right? So we got this stuff going on. They're going to have these series of laws known as the Intolerable Acts, also known as the Coercive Acts, okay? So you may hear both of those terms out there. So what are these various acts? Well, there's several parts to them. The first one is the Quartering Act, okay? Britain's saying, yep, we got to have all these troops over here. They need a place to stay. We don't want to build a barracks. That's going to cost a lot. We'll put them in with the colonists. Yeah. So you're a colonist merchant. You're doing your own thing. Next thing you know, you hear a knock on the door. Okay. You open the door, and there's a British soldier saying, congratulations, you have to put me up while I'm stationed here in North America. You have to feed me, wash my uniforms, okay, provide me with the bed. Don't give me that I want the nice bed, okay, the big bed. That's what I want, okay, that's where I'm going to stay. And you've got nothing to say about it. In fact, if you protest, we'll just throw you in jail and take your property. It's that simple, okay? So we got the Quartering Act going on. We've got the Boston Port Act, all right? Now, many of these acts are going to be targeted to the colonies across the board, but they're going to be some of the ones that are strictly after Boston for dumping all that tea into the harbor, all right? So this is one of those examples, the Boston Port Act. Basically, it's saying, Boston, you are shut down, okay? Massachusetts, you are shut down. Nothing can come into your harbor, okay? No goods from England, no goods from Philadelphia, no goods from wherever can come in except for some basic supplies, all right? Until you make amends for what you did with destroying all that tea, all right? So that's especially hard on those living in Boston. If you're living in Connecticut, you're like, I hate having a soldier in my house, but is better than not being able to get any kind of goods shipped into my, into my community. All right, the Massachusetts Government Act, again, surly Boston causing all this problems. They're going to lose their charter. The king is going to step in and be like, yeah, you're no longer a government anymore. Okay, I've got complete control over you guys. This happened once before. You'll learn about that in APUSH or American One, all right? The Administration of Justice Act. Now, this one is really, really, really kind of across the board. And if you fast forward to 2020, 2020, you will see a sentiment of this act, okay, in our society today, all right? So the Administration of Justice Act, British officers or British officials who are charged with a capital offense while upholding the law or quelling protest in Massachusetts Bay Colony would be tried in England, okay, would be tried in England. So what was happening? Again, a lot of protest, all right? Back then, the British Army didn't have a lot of restraint. Sounds like some people in today's society, all right? Didn't have a lot of restraints. So what happens, okay? Person gets killed here, person gets shot there, okay? Normally, that person should be tried right there in the community, all right? A victoria of their peers, so to speak, right there in the community where that crime happened, okay? Under this Administration of Justice Act, the British are going to squirrel all of their soldiers away who are accused of a capital crime. They're going to send them to England to stand trial, all right? Now, you could say that is a neutral environment, but it's not neutral. It's not neutral at all, because even though the colonists see themselves as British subjects, the British people see the colonists as a bunch of rabble-rousers, okay? Y'all are a bunch of rabble-rousers. You're out there throwing tea into the harbor, doing this, doing that, causing all sorts of trouble. No wonder they over there shooting you, okay? Sound familiar? So we've got this kind of a thing going on. So they send them over to England to stand trial. How many of those soldiers do you think were actually found guilty, okay, for killing colonists who may have been protesting against British rule? All right, 0. That many. That's the situation, and it's kind of funky. We talk about history repeating itself. Here we are in 2020. I bet you can find some examples of that today. All right. So the Administration of Justice Act. Those are the coercive act, the intolerable acts. Those are the intolerable acts, all right? I've got 2 little videos here that kind of, you are there, give you a summary that way, or give you kind of a first-person perspective as to what was going on. And then we've got, excuse me, we've got the intolerable acts, okay? We've got that video as well. So good chance, check those 2 things out. So what's the impact? What impact are these things going to have on society? Well, a couple of things are going to happen, all right? The folks in are going to look at Massachusetts. Yes, I'm down in Pennsylvania, and we still have our, harbors open, and we can still trade goods, but dang, some of that stuff that's happening there could happen to us, okay? Folks are going to start panicking, all right? And I won't say panicking. They're going to start getting organized. They're going to say, if this can happen over there, it can happen here, and I don't want that happening here, all right? They're going to think that the British has gone too far. You've gone too far. You're doing this crazy stuff. Tell them about one of your soldiers kills a colony citizen, and you're going to go ahead and ship them back to England to stand trial. No, sir. No, sir, okay? So what's going to happen is the colonist leaders, okay, some of those people who eventually be known as our founding fathers, okay, they're going to pull together. They're going to be like, yo, it's time. We've got to meet here and we've got to talk. Now, prior to this time period when the intolerable acts were first started, okay, and even before then when there was some back and forth between Great Britain and the colonists, all right, several folks got together and realized that, you know what, we need to make sure that all the colonies are sharing information. We need to are sharing information so that we know what's going on. And they form what is known as a committee of correspondence. So they're writing back and forth. Every time something crazy happens, they're spreading the word. It's like old school Twitter, all right? So they're doing that. Now, once this thing goes down with the coercive acts, they're going to hit the Twitter again, communicate with everybody and say, hey, y'all, Pennsylvania, let's meet up. Philadelphia, brotherly love. We'll figure out what's going on and we'll come up with a plan, all right? Now, by doing this and actually coming face to face, it's a big jump from just sending tweets back and forth, all right? They're forming what's going to be eventually known as the First Continental Congress, and they are taking that step towards forming a government in the United States, because you've got representatives from all 13, just about all 13 colonies there, all right? So it's a big step in the evolution of government in America. Now, what did they do when they met September 5th? Oh my goodness, almost a couple of hundred years ago, 1774, all right? Well, they're going to go ahead and say, you know what, we have certain rights as a colony, okay? As individual colonists, we've got certain rights, all right? We're going to evaluate this relationship that we have between Great Britain and us. And more importantly, they're going to identify grievances. So they're not just going to sit over here and talk about, yeah, we should be this, yeah, we should be that, and yeah, we should be treated this way, and yeah, we shouldn't be treated that way, okay? We're going to say, all right, we've got these generalities that we are dealing with, and we're going to specify them. We're going to make them real. We're going to come up with a solid list of grievances, all right? And from those grievances, we're going to go ahead and send these to the king, all right? Hey, king, these are the problems that we have, and we need to address this stuff, all right? It's also known as the Olive Branch Treaty. Hey, we want to try and work some stuff out with you. Help us out over here, all right? After they get this thing drafted and they send it off, you know, before they all head back to their homes and their jobs and their families and everything, they said, you know what, guys, we've got to come up with a phase 2 here. We had a great phase 1. We all agreed to a lot of stuff. We've got this letter drafted. We've got it shipped off. What's going to happen if the king says no? All right. And so they said, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to meet again in case that this doesn't go the way that we want it to. All right. And of course, as we all know, it didn't go the way that they wanted to. Congress is going to ignore us, all right? Now, while all this is going on, you got to remember that these colonists fall into 2 categories, okay? You've got most everybody who, you know, yeah, we are British subjects. We are British subjects, and that's how they thought of themselves. That's why we had the Olive Branch Treaty, okay? We want to say, yeah, we are loyal to the crown. However, you got to start treating us like adults over here, okay? I'm 21, mama. I'm 21, all right? Treat me like an adult, mama, all right? Can you please do my laundry, mama, while you're at it and treating me like an adult? Treating you like an adult over here. We need to have this start to happen. That's all they wanted, okay? But there are some colonists that are a little bit more radical, okay? A little bit more radical, and those are the patriots, and those are the guys that are like, you know what, we need to just be done with this nonsense. Yeah, I'm an adult. I'm tired of being treated this way. I'm British at one time, but I'm also a New Englander. I'm also a Pennsylvanian, okay? I'm also from New Jersey, okay? I've got my own identity in these colonies. It's been 5 generations since any of my people came over here. I'm straight up American, all right? So you've got that kind of thing. Back and forth, that balancing act, okay? You could have been a member of the Continental Congress and still been a loyalist, being loyal to the crown. I believe in England, okay? But you're also having to work with that individual that is ready to kind of throw everything out and start anew, all right? So those are our 2 categories. There's a link down here with a little comparison table for you guys to look at the difference between colonist and loyalist, all right? But that's going to be a big point of tension all the way up and through the Revolutionary War, and a little bit after too, all right? So after all this is taken care of, we've got our loyalists, we've got our colonists, our loyalists, we've got our patriots, all right? Some of these patriots up in New England are going to form their own little secret shadow government, okay? And I say some of these people, it's going to be like John Hancock, John Adams, and all these other like people who are the founders of the country, basically. They are going to form what is known as a safety committee, all right? The government that had been established in Massachusetts had been taken away as part of the Coercive Acts, the Intolerable Acts, okay? And so they are still meeting, though, in secret, all right? And what they're going to say, you know what, we've got to get our militia ready just in case something crazy happens and the British, you know, start acting a fool again, all right? We got to be able to do that. We need to start drilling, okay? We need to start stockpiling ammunition because we think that things aren't going to go so great, and that's what's going to happen. Things aren't going to go so great, but they're getting ready, okay? They're getting ready. Call it foreshadowing, call it what you will. Eventually, the British general who's in charge of New England, okay, he's going to be like, these guys, this won't stop. They're pestering our people. They're robbing supplies. They're over here. I'm going to put an end to this right here, right now. Where's their stuff? Lexington, Concord, is that where it is? troops. We're going to send you guys Lexington, Concord, all right? And you're going to get that stuff, and that'll put an end to this. And so that's what they do, okay? They march on Lexington and Concord. They don't want to kill nobody. They don't want to fight nobody. They just want to get this stuff out of there and kind of put an end to this, all right? They figure if these guys, the Patriots, have guns, they're going to want to try and use that stuff. We can get rid of them guns, all right? Life will be good all the way around. Well, as the British are marching up there, the colonists, okay, the Patriots are like, aha, the British are coming, the British are coming, all right? And the militias get all excited, and they run out and they grab their stuff, and they run over to Concord or Lexington first, and they have, and not Lexington, North Carolina, and not Concord, North Carolina. Somebody asked me that one time a couple of years ago. This is all up in Massachusetts, okay? Get all their guns ready. They're standing there, and the British come up, and they're standing there, and they're trying to hold the British off, and the British are like, oh, man, why is this going to be so rough? I just thought that we were going to go ahead and just walk up here, maybe scare them off, and they will go running in the woods. Fire! What? Huh? What? Bang, 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 bang. And that's what happened. Nobody knows who yelled fire, okay? But someone yells fire, and shots go back and forth. Oh, Lord, now it's happened, all right? What started off as something nice and simple, we're just going to try and get this gunpowder and these bullets and everything, turns into a shooting match. Once the British Army gets a taste for blood, they're going all the way. Hey, you guys wanted to play, let's go. Okay, that's what they're going to say. The colonists are going to fall back. The British are going to move forward. They're going to move forward, look for their weapons in Lexington. Ain't going to find anything. Going to look for weapons in Concord. Ain't going to find much of anything, all right? They take a few things, tear a few things up, and then start heading back. All right, yeah, we got them. We got them. On the way back, the colonists pop up, bang, and start taking pot shots, ka-bang, at the soldiers as they move back to Great Britain. The actual battle, the fighting initially, the British got that stuff down pat, okay? The trip back, ooh, colonists ruled the day over there, all right? So now we're in this crazy, crazy spot where you've got some fighting going on. The British are like, oh, okay. The colonists, you know, the Patriots are like, yeah, all right, let's go. And things are going to keep getting uglier and uglier and uglier, okay? Everybody starts hearing about the malicious actions going on in Massachusetts. Those committees of correspondence start tweeting. Actually, they're tweeting with the pen and paper. It's a feather, you know, pen and paper, okay? Militias locally from far and abroad are going to come, and they're going to surround Boston, and the British eventually will pull out of Boston, okay? But in the meantime, they're holding their grounds, and everybody's like, yeah, this is getting ready to be really ugly, all right? So while this is going on, the guys who formed the First Continental Congress are going to meet up again. And what are they going to call it? The Second Continental Congress. It's not too difficult. They meet up again, and then they're like, all right, guys, we tried it. Now it's time to get serious. What are we going to do here? Well, we're going to form our own army because these militias are good, and we're going to use them throughout the war, but we need to have a set army that's, you know, representative of the country that we are, I guess, going to start founding because things have gotten really ugly. We need a commander. Who are we going to get? George Washington. He fought the French and the Indians. Yeah, call up George. Let's get him in here. George is going to be sitting back eating a turkey sandwich and go, oh, I'm not trying to fight nobody. I'm retired in Virginia over here. And he's like, we need you, George. We need you. Martha, get my teeth. Get my boots. Let's go. Come on. We're out of here. Actually, Martha stays home most of the time. All right, so we got that going on, all right? They're going to start doing the things that a government does, okay? The things that a government does. They have all of a sudden have taken on this role, okay? We weren't trying to do anything but communicate and come up with a plan, but now we've got to be a functioning government. And we're going to start printing money. We've already committed an army, okay? We've already got standing committees on foreign relations and government because if things go even further south, we need to have open trade relations and negotiation capabilities with Britain's best enemy, France, okay? We're going to need to do that. We're going to need to set up relationships with Spain and all these other countries who maybe will help us, maybe they won't help us, but we won't know unless we have all these things in place, okay? Everything is going to move forward and evolve the Second Continental Congress into a full-fledged government, all right? A full-fledged government. So we've got these little things happening up in Boston. We've got the Continental Congress meeting over here. Around the same time period, this one guy is writing a little pamphlet known as Common Sense, all right? This is a guy by the name of, oh, I just forgot his name. Good gosh, that's probably right over here. It is Thomas Paine, okay? Gonna be writing this little book called Common Sense. And Thomas Paine's publication wasn't very thick, okay? It wasn't very, it's more like a pamphlet more than anything else, but it hit on some of these key issues that was under the skin of most colonists, all right? Again, we have our loyalists and we have our patriots, and we have those folks who are kind of in between. Well, the patriots read common sense and they are like, heck to the yes, this is what we're trying to say. The loyalists, okay, will read it and some will be like, oh my goodness, this thing is, ooh, this is treason. This is treason. We don't want any of this stuff, okay? Some will be like, well, he's making some sense and I'm seeing what's happening up in Boston and, you know, maybe I need to start moving over this way and get involved with what's going on, okay? So you'll have some folks that are doing that. Then you've got those folks that are sitting on the fence, all right, and they're going to read that and they're going to be like, yep, and they're going to get steered up. Folks are going to start getting excited about, and I don't mean excited as in, yay, let's fight, but they're going to start being like, yeah, Thomas Paine is making complete common sense with his writings over here. In fact, it's going to cause the folks, oh, look at this, it was 120,000 copies circulated when at the time of its printing. Probably would have been on Oprah Winfrey's book club list if it, you know, had been around during that time period. But the biggest thing that common sense is going to do, okay, it's going to get the Continental Congress to get off their fence, all right? Yeah, we are forming a government, okay? We've got all of the trappings of a government, but we still want to be friends with England. We still want to stay here. We're scared a little bit. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit, all right? And it's going to get the Continental Congress off the fence and push them towards saying, yep, we've got to do something, guys. We've got to declare ourselves free and independent states, and we've got to make the magic, okay? We've got to break away from England. And so what they're going to do in this here Second Continental Congress is get together a subcommittee. Woo, you know it's a government when you got subcommittees, okay? More bureaucracy, more government. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to create these subcommittees. And this one subcommittee is going to be in charge of writing this Declaration of Independence, all right? And writing the Declaration of Independence was much more complicated than saying, screw you, screw you. Okay, it's a little bit more complicated than that because, yes, we have our patriots who are hardcore, okay, ready to break away. We've got those moderate guys, okay, that are like, I can go either way, but I'm leaning more towards the patriot cause, the independence cause. And we've got those folks who are complete loyalists, all right? We don't want to scare the bejesus out of the middle people, okay? We don't want to totally put off those folks who are on the hardcore loyalist side. So we've got to write this document in such a way that it appeals to everybody, all right? We've got to take Thomas Paine's common sense and up it by like 3 points, all right? That's what they're trying to do, and that's why I got stuff all over my screen. That's what we're trying to do over here, all right? We're trying to write this document that tells the king what we have going on, how we are feeling as individuals. We're going to take in some of these ideas from Locke, okay, and all these other Enlightenment thinkers. We're going to put it on paper, and we're going to make this general mass appeal, all right? Now, the Declaration itself is broken into 5 parts. Some people will say 4 parts. Some people will say 6 parts, okay? For our intents and purposes, the Declaration of Independence is broken into 5 parts, okay? Part 1 is the preamble. It's saying, hey, this is us. This is who we are, okay? It's the introduction. It's our main idea, all right? Our Declaration of Rights is the second part, all right? And this is the part that people find the most fault with the Declaration of Independence because it talks about individual rights and not everybody had those same rights, but that's a whole other story for a whole other class, all right? So we get our second part, which is the Declaration of Rights. Hey, we are human beings. We are citizens. We have certain rights, okay? It gets into the third part, and this is the clever part. This is the list of grievances. Goes way back to the First Continental Congress, okay? Hey, man, we told you before. You did this, 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 this. You didn't do this, 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 and this. We're not just coming up with this document because we ain't got nothing else to do because of the coronavirus and all that other stuff going on, okay? We have some serious grievances that we told you about in the past and you chose to ignore us, okay? So we've got that going on, okay? Hey, we even attempted to address these grievances with you. And what did you do? Nothing. Nothing. So after going through all these previous stuffs over here, fighting up there in Concord, no tea in the harbor and all that other kind of nonsense, it is time for us to declare our independence. We are breaking away from you now, okay? That is the Declaration of Independence. July 4th, 1776, it is ratified by a 12-0 vote. There are 13 colonies, mind you. New York decided to abstain from the vote. Why? Because it's New York. Who knows why? All right. So there we are. Boom. Summary video. Check it out. And then there is still this. I forget what that video is, but hey, check it out while you're at it. Okay. Boom. That is me for today with all of this crazy nonsense.